I'm
man.
so distraught.
Woo!
Fuck
Go
yeah,
Charlotte!
Go Becky!
Becky, 2 belts.
Oh my God, no! Please no.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
well, fuck that 2
All right,
belt
there,
shit.
Chris. What are we doing here?
All right.
Welcome back.
It's been a minute. We have the TLC 2019 review since we went to the show.
Unfortunately.
I am here, along with Albert
Hi.
and you know the last guy.
No, you don't. I don't even want to. Fucking legend. I spent $430 on a championship belt. All right.
Yeah, you did. He's
That's
the
probably
champ.
the highlight of the fucking night.
He's the champ.
All right.
Let's do a general consensus before we actually start talking about the event.
True. What would you grade the pay-per-view A to F?
B-. Unfortunately, it went downhill as it went. As the pay-per-view went from like the first match to the last one.
Like I said, walking in and then walking out was like, good. Oh shit, what
Off
the
a
fuck are you
cliff.
doing?
It really went off. To me, it went off a cliff. I'm sorry.
I'm surprised you gave it a B-. I was gonna say like a C. Solid C.
Well,
Actually, I don't know.
the first couple matches were good. I enjoyed the first match, the ladder match for the tag belts. That was really cool.
I fucking love the Revival. Fuck the Revival.
What was the match after that? I'm sorry.
That was fucking Buddy Murphy.
Buddy Murphy and
Yeah,
Aleister Black.
I love that one.
Probably the match tonight if you really think
Going
about
all
it.
the way to Bray
Yeah.
Wyatt. I love the story. I don't care because Bray Wyatt wrestling out of his Fiend gear was pretty cool. But after that,
And he was like so like playing to the crowd. Like,
He did.
Fucking like, hey.
yeah, he went in and out like the yay nay spot when you hit somebody and they hit back and the crowd goes yay or boo or whatever.
And he was playing a face in the heel character because everybody loved it.
And after that, off a cliff. Like really, it's still probably falling. It's just that far. It's that much of a cliff.
Nobody gave a shit about. I told you, like, I went to the bathroom during the Lana Rusev match and literally stood in line. It's like, the storyline's so bad, and the guy behind us was like, yeah, that's why there's a line for the men's room. It never happens.
Yeah, it was we're all probably masturbating because Lana's hot as shit.
It's like, man,
Alright.
if I'm walking away from a Lana
Keep it classy,
scene,
right?
that's fucking bad.
Keep
No,
it
fuck that. This is a podcast. We
don't care what the fuck we say.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyways, we started off with that ladder match of the SmackDown.
Oh, we
tag
started
titles.
off with driving circles waiting for you to show up, so we missed the pre-show.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, we missed Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. We saw the highlights. It looked pretty decent from what we saw.
They teased more dissension with Zelina and Andrade, right?
Yeah, Andrade left.
Yeah,
And left Selena in
straight
the
left
ring.
her there.
Well, okay, so that's replay from Raw,
Yeah,
essentially. Or yeah,
So it's
Raw,
kind of
Raw,
the same idea, but
pretty much.
they went a little farther with it.
But anyways, it was the tag title ladder match. That match is pretty good.
First two fucking matches of the night are the best matches on the card.
The hardest part for me was what we talked about during the event was watching the actual ring stuff in the ring. I kept going up to the freaking Titantron. I was smacking myself. Stop doing that.
Yeah, because there's a TV right above the
There was
where
quite,
we're sitting, and he was looking at the TV / looking at the ring. While me and Legend here were trying to just focus on the ring, so in that way you don't catch all the mistakes.
I will
that
say
were
the
made.
broken ladder spot, you had to watch the screen because it was on the other side of the ladders that were
That
already
part
placed.
is
You
true.
had
Fair
to
enough.
watch the screen.
Well, fair enough, but
And they botched that too because I think it should have broke the first time.
Just like
well,
you
they
needed
put
to
it the second
watch.
time, so
They made it work, but
You needed to watch at the very end too. Once they were celebrating, because you wouldn't see Big E.
you're like, where'd Big E go?
he's on the ladder. Yeah, I couldn't see him. I thought, but and for a second I was like, is this another way they're gonna like write like a New Day storyline where Kofi's celebrating without Big E in the ring? Like Kofi, it's all about Kofi, and like, oh, there's Big E on the ladder. Okay.
Well,
never
you
mind.
want Kofi's main event push to continue is what you want.
Oh,
I
Well,
mean,
at least something.
I do. Something.
Don't get me wrong. It would be good for that, just because then you could show that he's actually being serious and not trying to be. I'm gonna fuck around and play everything's okay.
Well, I do think it's dumb that he had like almost a 7-month title reign. It's like, oh, here's 8 seconds of Brock Lesnar.
That's all you get on
And
the
then
premiere
no
of Fox.
No rematch.
On the premiere of the premiere episode of SmackDown on Fox is ridiculous.
And no rematch either, even though automatic rematches are apparently not a thing anymore. But at the same point, that kind of does an injustice for Kofi there.
Automatic rematches are on a point, but then the Revival gets a tag team title match because they've just been hot-shotting the tag belts for a couple months.
The worst one I saw was when I think it was on an episode of SmackDown, like maybe like a few weeks after it happened, and they're having like a picnic in the back, and like I forget who was involved besides Kofi and Big E. I think Woods was hurt by then. If not, he was there, and Kofi's like, someone brought up, we just lost the title. How do you feel? Like, I got the power of positivity, some kind of thing like that. Like, come on.
I got the power. Shut the fuck up. This is bullshit.
Well, plus if you just lost the WWE Championship, you should be legitimately upset.
And you know damn well it's fucking
And they
Fox
should, yeah.
believing that Brock Lesnar is a more viable champion for their show than
Well,
Kofi.
he's viable for their show because of the star power.
But now they don't even have Brock because he's on Raw now.
He's on
and
Raw
they got
now.
Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, the thing is,
So
is
define irony.
that logic doesn't even work because fucking Brock decided to take the title and then go to Raw.
Because what they originally wanted was Brock and Bray, but they couldn't have both titles on the show.
They also wanted Ronda Rousey too, and look where that's getting them. Nothing.
Because Ronda's gonna have a kid and won't be back, if back at all, for at least a year and a half.
Oh, no shit.
Well,
Because she got to get pregnant first,
She
and then
literally
after
just
she gets pregnant, you got to
posted-
go another 9 months, and then after that, you got to go another like 6 months.
Well, she literally just said too recently that
WWE's
WWE's
better,
better without her, which I
I
don't get that.
She said
I
that?
wanna
Yeah, she
watch,
said WWE's better without her.
I
right
want to
now.
watch the 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen of MMA.
That's like mania level right there.
Okay, they got the other three.
Exactly. They
And-
have Jessamine Duke. They have
I will say,
Marina Shafir, and they have Shayna Baszler.
I know we're going sidetracked and all that, but using what you just said is, I'm glad they didn't go that route when they were doing War Games.
Yeah, that would have
They
been.
kept them out because they're too green, and they put in.
Oh, definitely, because they're not the
Io
best
Shirai and them.
wrestlers at the moment.
But War Games was best for those guys. Or, I'm sorry, those girls.
And
Because they obviously hides all their weaknesses. All you gotta do is go in and start punching people. That's
I'm
all
not
you
even gonna
gotta
lie, that women's War Games match was the best match of the night.
It was great. It was
I
better than
missed
the
the event,
men's
though,
one, but
I
not by
liked
much.
I liked the men's match, but my biggest pop for the men's match was Kevin Owens being the guy.
do. Yeah.
And the fact that he was wearing his old NXT gear.
Yeah,
That was really cool.
Stun Owens stunned. I mean, I'm glad. Or I'm sorry, I'm happy for him that he wanted to reinvigorate his finishing maneuver. He was sick of the power bomb. I get that. He went to Austin, asked him, "Can I use the stunner?"
I don't like anybody using famous moves like that.
I don't either.
The thing is, though, is after a while, though, we've seen 99% of moves that can be physically done as a finisher, so you have to eventually copy
Well, it's
something.
different than using somebody else's move, but then like straight up using the move, because that's exactly how Austin did it.
And not to mention the stunner. It's like the Hogan leg drop. It takes years off your career because you're taking the bump. You're the one taking the bump
Right on your ass.
right on your
I-
ass.
I don't know if I told this story on the podcast, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people know this, but there's a big time, like, The Rock and Austin, there's backstage interviews about it, like, behind the scenes interviews. Why The Rock always sold the rock bottom the way he did, or the stunner the way he
yeah.
did.
I love the story.
Because it's like, they had like 12 packs of beer based off of how ridiculous he could pull it. Like, that's why he would flop around like 6 or 7 times
He'd
and shit.
flop like a fucking fish just for beer.
Just for how ridiculous it would be. Like, how,
Go back and watch WrestleMania 18, and you'll see Scott Hall take one of the best stunners ever.
Scott Hall took a great one.
He did.
was probably also drunk that night, but hey, who
Hey,
cares?
fair enough. Maybe he had a 12 pack. You know,
Maybe he had the 12 pack before the match.
Yeah. Either way, he took it like a fucking champ.
and now, transitioning back to point,
One point.
the next match was Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black.
That was a really good match. That was like
Yeah.
match of the night.
Which is weird because you're talking about stipulation pay-per-view, and it's like, here's a normal singles match.
Yeah.
And you're going to remember more from this
because
match
Buddy
than
Murphy
anything
knocks
else.
on the door. Do you remember that spot on? Is it Raw or SmackDown that Black is on?
So Black is on Raw now,
But it started on SmackDown.
the stupid gimmick of
Yeah, it started on
you're
SmackDown.
sitting in a room
but,
and you're knocking on the door. That's retarded. I hate
But
that.
but it was hilarious to see the highlight of Murphy walking on going up to Aleister Black's door after his match, knocking on it, wait, and then Black just pops out like. It was hilarious.
It was awesome seeing Aleister Black's entrance live.
Yeah.
That's like a Undertaker, Finn Balor as the Demon, the Fiend kind of an entrance, and like that one's kind of like a spectacle.
The darker entrances are always more like...
It's a spectacle. It's not even like a straight up, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, he comes up like his arms crossed, like the Jesus Christ. Well, not Jesus Christ.
It was on the
like
wrong
that,
side of the stage, though. I didn't
and he
like that.
Kind of
Yeah,
comes
if it would
up
have been on the other side, it would have been better for our view, but it's
Always
not
good.
huge.
If
Always
you were
deal.
trying to capture it.
Yeah, I couldn't see a fucking thing, so I just stopped it. But all he's gonna do now is just get over. Just get over, please. Get over.
Well, the problem is he was over.
I'm sick of...
Okay, get over again.
If anything, the move that they did doing this new storyline actually made him less over than he was when he first showed up. When they
Come
weren't...
fight me. I'm in a room. Just fight me. Like
I did like Buddy Murphy, though, right at the beginning, actually sitting down in Aleister Black's pose.
Yes, sir.
Trying to do some mental mind games with him.
And you called what happened next.
That he jumped into the ring and did the pose, too.
Yeah.
And they stared at each other for like 45 seconds.
Yeah, and they went like what? Almost 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
pretty good.
Aleister Black was bleeding.
I have no idea how.
Yeah, how did that happen? Anybody see that? I didn't see how he got busted.
It was from a kick, I want to say, from Buddy Murphy.
So I have no idea how long any of these matches were. 'Cause I never looked at my phone. But
There's
all
only
I
like
know
7
is that
matches.
that main event was fucking long.
We'll
At
get
least
to
it
that.
felt like it was.
Well, yeah, we'll
I
get to
want
that.
to say the main event was probably only 20 minutes, but it felt longer than that.
It was definitely the longest match of the night, maybe with the ladder match at the beginning.
I don't know.
I will say this,
I think
I
the
don't-
Roman Reigns match was longer.
I don't think any match went exceedingly long. It's just that the ones towards the end were just like exceedingly boring.
Well, it's funny you say exceedingly long. It's like the Bray Wyatt Miz thing. We'll get to that too. That wasn't even long.
No, it wasn't that bad.
And
It
just
wasn't
kinda
that
ended.
long.
That was a story. Like you guys were saying, it was a storyline driven angle to get to Bryan.
But we'll get to that too. So like I said, after you said it, Buddy Murphy looked like $1 million.
But Buddy Murphy and
Also
Black
Black looked
both
great.
looked great.
But he was always going to look great. But they made Buddy Murphy look great at the same time.
Yeah, he definitely like he put Aleister Black over, made him look like $1 million. But he also he's so versatile. He can go against anybody. And I'm gonna go back to Bret Hart. Bret Hart could adapt his style to anybody he wrestled against. Whether it's a big fat dude, a tall dude, a short dude, a skinny dude. Buddy Murphy is that guy.
Another one who could really
That's
do
really
that
high
too.
praise.
Another one who could really do that too is Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And that's because Buddy Murphy has that style. The only thing he needs is a finisher that he can pull off on any size opponent. Because I don't feel like he could pull Murphy's Law against someone like Keith Lee, let's say.
Oh God. Bow down to his glory.
I can't see him doing
So
that to Keith Lee.
Can't wait for him to win the belt.
I can't see him
Or a
doing
belt.
that to any, like, the AOP guys. I can't see him doing it to them.
I also think they're smart enough about that.
And be
not to
believable,
put him
yeah.
there.
and be believable.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing is eventually, if Buddy Murphy is going to keep getting a push, he might win a mid-card title, and then he might have to face someone that's a bigger size than him.
Well, you could say that, like, yeah, it works like that because, like, fucking everybody talked with Rey Mysterio back in the day doing matches with Big Show and shit. The 619 works because you can hit it on anybody.
Exactly.
But
you
it
just
also-
have to get him in position.
But for me, what you just said, I never really believed the idea. 619 Brock Lesnar, 619 Big Show. It's like, oh, yeah, and then you do the next part.
The
You just get powerbombed. That's what I see should happen.
Because they can just catch him in out of the air and
See, and the problem
He's done.
The problem with Rey Mysterio 619 is getting them into that position when they were bigger, like Undertaker, Big Show, Brock Lesnar, was a difficult thing to make it believable to get him in that position.
I'll also say I don't particularly like the 619 because it doesn't look all that impactful. Especially when 98-pound Rio does it.
See, I like
true.
I
Very
like-
true.
I like the 619 back when pretty much Rey Mysterio was the only one using it. Now Cesaro uses it, Rio uses it.
It's the same thing as the DDT. When Jake Roberts was doing it, it was so devastating.
Jake Roberts had a great DDT.
Oh, using the DDT, I like.
And now everyone does DDT. Moxley does one.
Well, I like the one that Moxley does now.
The paradigm.
Well, it's a paradigm
Andrade
shift,
does one.
but it's also his elevated one that he does now. That's called the paradigm shift.
Yep.
Is actually the Death Rider when he was
Yep.
in when he was in New Japan.
Yep.
That's where that came from. That elevated one where his legs get all the way up in the air. I actually like that one as far as DDTs go.
Well, that's the guy selling it.
And another good DDT is actually Randy Orton's rope DDT.
Oh yeah,
Which one?
the
The one that he
rope
puts
one.
him in the ropes.
Oh yeah. What's different though? That's like a spot. It's like a.
He's not
it's
trying
a
to win a
finisher.
match with it though.
No.
Has he
no.
done it though? Has he ever won a match with that?
No.
I mean,
I don't think he has.
If you look deep down in the vault, maybe.
Maybe a house show. I don't think it's ever happened on TV.
You know, like when Cena would win with like a fucking 5-knuckle shuffle or some bullshit like that.
Well, like that's what it is. It's one of his
Setup
set
moves.
moves. Like,
Yeah.
It's just like the stomps where he stomps all of the individual parts of his body, the limb.
That's the
Stomp.
Ronnie Garvin shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like Albert was saying too, it also depends on who's taking the DDT. One perfect example, RVD.
He
That
would.
dude takes
Oh.
the best DDT
He would
ever.
go on his. It's almost like a headstand. It was perfect.
He literally lands on his head, feet up in the fucking air.
So sick.
And he still does that to this day in Impact.
Wow, Impact, huh?
I don't like that guy right now because I mean part of it was the storyline, but he was saying it before he joined the company. But he's like talking shit about all the people stealing all his moves and shit.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like it's wrestling now. You're not really gonna come up with anything that's all that innovative.
So-
you can't come up with many new things because everything has been tried. Because wrestling's been around for
That's true.
fucking hundreds of years.
And the few things you could try might be too dangerous to pull off.
Yeah. So what would Buddy Murphy have to do to get that finishing maneuver? What do we have to do?
The problem is if he's gonna switch finishing maneuvers, he has to come up with something that once he hits it, people realize that's his finishing maneuver.
Exactly, kind of like when Ziggler started using the super kick.
Yeah, but the super kick's so wasted now because of your favorite tag team in the world.
Well,
Super kick party.
To be fair,
Fiesta now.
Ziggler started using the super kick because the Young Bucks got it over. So
I think the Usos did that really. Didn't the Usos do that to really to mock the Young Bucks?
That they started doing it after the Young Bucks did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Young Bucks took it first, and then the Usos started using it, and then Shawn Michaels went up to Ziggler and he's like, "Dude,
Use my super
you're a face now.
Like
Use the super kick. That thing will get a pop out of the crowd."
Did it really? I mean, I'm sorry. Did he really go like
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
passing of the torch with the super kick?
HBK went up to Ziggler and was like, "Hey, you want to get a pop, a babyface pop? You do the super kick."
Well, I don't particularly like those passing the torch moments either because they don't really work out very often.
Well,
No.
for Ziggler's
Like The
case,
Rock trying to get Roman Reigns over at the Royal Rumble.
Well, see, for Ziggler's case though, that was behind the scenes, so that's not so bad. Like Ric Flair giving Miz the figure four, that was stupid.
Now Cody's just doing
No
it
one's going to do the
because-
figure four better than Flair.
Uh,
It's never going to go better.
Albert, you might want to watch Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal puts on a fucking great figure four.
Well, that's also because he worked
Oh,
with
fair
Ric
enough.
Flair for so long. Styles did it when he worked with Flair too.
I mean, of course, I'm a little biased, but like I don't watch much. I haven't watched much Jay Lethal either, so I don't know.
Jay Lethal, I have to say this is probably one of my top 5 favorites in the moment.
You know the worst thing about it is most of my Jay Lethal was from Macho Man, part of TNA days. I got to
To
swear.
be fair, he did such a great Macho Man impression, though. He had it spot on. He had the voice. He had the
The
tire,
mannerisms and all that.
He had the
He
moves.
even had his mouth was the same. You know, like the Macho Man was like.
He had the beard too.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta eat a Slim Jim."
Man, we transitioned on to new stuff fucking like crazy. All right, next match.
What was the
was
next match?
What
Baron
was-
Corbin and
Oh, Baron Corbin and
Oh.
Roman Reigns.
the
and
eat dog shit match.
and a TLC
It almost came to
match.
that. Pulled the Alpo out.
They
Alpo
pulled-
on a table match or
He
something.
pulled the elbow out.
It should have been like dog food on a pole match.
the
Listen, this was so
TLC
bullshit.
match with a lack of ladders.
and and
There was no
chair-
ladder.
and tables. There was more. There's chairs.
They had the one table spot. They did have the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
barely.
'Cause that's where he put him through the table.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. That's
Also,
right.
Corbin
who set
did
it
a
up? Who
choke
set it up?
slam.
Big Man does choke slam.
He
Why
did,
Big Man do
he
choke
did
slam?
multiple choke slams actually.
He did the backbreaker choke
He
slam.
did the backbreaker choke slam and he hit one other one as well.
How did that
Because he
match-
did the Elpo dog food choke slam.
What was the finish of that match again? I know who won.
That's where everybody fucking
It
the
was-
Revival and
It was the Revival.
Dolph
Where
Ziggler
they beat
and
Roman's
the
ass.
shit out of him. Yeah.
And then Corbin pinned
So
him.
another shitty fucking
Yeah,
match.
the end of that match is fucking the Revival.
Actually, we skipped the
Dolph
match,
Ziggler.
but we'll get that match
And
next.
all the guys that were carrying Corbin's throne, just beating the shit out of Roman Reigns.
How about the 7 guys who in a row just ran into the same spot, getting kendo sticked in the ribs? Like,
That happened 3 matches in a row. What are you talking about? Of
By
course
the
I
way,
forget it.
remember now, the one part of the match that was confusing as shit, me and Albert, I don't know if you were looking or not, is Corbin is attacking this dude, and we think it's Roman Reigns, and they're
This
right
is
next to
some
the
random-
ring, and then Roman Reigns pops into the frame out of nowhere, and it's like, where the fuck were you? I thought that was you. He was attacking.
Who's he? Who,
and then that was never answered either.
Because he was attacking
I saw him
one of those
after you
guys.
pointed it out. I saw the guy laying there.
He was attacking one of those dudes, and me and you thought it was Roman Reigns he was attacking, and then Roman pops out of nowhere.
But overall, this match was mostly garbage as far as I'm concerned.
I mean,
like,
don't-
Especially once Dolph Ziggler and the Revival came out there. That was just. I hate when that shit happens.
I hate when that shit happens too, but don't get me wrong. I will say that for those two, they couldn't have done a better match, I don't think.
I mean, I hate both of them.
Corbin
so-
Reigns, you mean?
Yeah.
Corbin and Reigns, I don't think they could have put on a better match than that. So I'm gonna sit there and just say pass.
But
Also-
the issue to me is like, where does it go from there? It's already a TLC match. It's supposed to be like a no disqualification. Beat the shit out of your opponent using these weapons. Where does it go from there? Hell in a Cell?
Exactly, like TLC and Hell in a Cell. I fucking hate that they're pay-per-views because those should be the end of your feud.
and not like showcased once a year as a highlight,
As a special
a
attraction.
special attraction. There you go. Yeah.
Using what you're saying about that is use the Fiend and Seth Rollins. They had an awful, shittily awful Hell in a Cell match.
Look at my face.
Which was the start of their feud.
They had that shittily awful Hell in a Cell match, and their next one was, oh shit, people are really pissed off about this. Let's go to Saudi Arabia and have a Falls Count Anywhere match.
And on top of that,
Give me a break.
because of the stupid ass disqualification finish in that one, it was the match will not end due to anything aside
They
from
did say that,
pinfall or
yeah.
submission.
It's like, okay, well, I thought that was the point of the other match. But
Yeah,
Right.
Hell in a Cell.
Boo.
Hell in a Cell, okay? Stupid ass pay-per-view, and the fact that the last 2 years, the main event has ended in a fucking DQ.
Shit,
Well-
what was the end of the last one?
Because the one before that was Brock Lesnar beating the shit out of Braun and Roman for the Universal title, and beating the shit out of Mick Foley, the ref.
Wasn't there one where it was on Raw, and I think it was Strowman and Lesnar, and like,
Not a Hell in a Cell.
wasn't Hell in a Cell, it was a cage match or something. Because I swear there was one. Oh no, maybe it was Reigns and Lesnar, where like Lesnar falls in the cage, but Roman's the first one to leave the cage, but Lesnar didn't hit the floor, or Roman. or
No,
something.
what you're thinking of, I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking of Braun Strowman and Big Show.
Yeah, that happened.
Maybe, I don't know.
They've also
Big
done.
Show slammed him through the door, and then they said, "Oh, technically Big Show fell out." No. He's thinking of Saudi Arabia, Roman and Brock, where Roman speared him through the door.
Yep, it's Roman and
he
Brock.
won that way.
You're right. Yep, that's the one.
Because they're like, his feet technically hit first.
But
I kind of hate those endings too, but they did it. The first time I remember them doing that ending was No Way Out 2004.
No, that was you're thinking of the barbed wire steel
Well,
cage?
I'm thinking of like it's the same, not that exact idea, but the idea of that. Like he chokeslams him through the ring and he crawls out from under
that
it.
was
Like
No Way Out 05.
Yeah,
Big
I didn't
Show
like
and
that.
JBL.
I didn't like that ending either. I don't like those kind of like cop out endings.
I mean,
Okay.
even the very first Hell in a Cell, they almost buried it by having Kane rip the door off.
Well,
Nobody can get in, nobody can get out. Hell, even Michaels broke through it, right? I mean, like, they've almost buried the gimmick right then and there.
Well, Albert, you got to think about it this way, though. First off, that match was like 30-some minutes before that,
I say, what's the?
and they were going hard.
I understand. I'm
And
not
And
questioning.
then, that's the most memorable debut in WWE history.
I'm not taking away anything. I'm not taking away anything. But they almost buried it by having somebody be able to rip the door off of a match where you can't get in. Nobody can get in.
Well, they were
I think-
already outside of the ring before that anyways, though.
Well, that's another thing you didn't like about it. But I think the one thing that made it work
That's what I'm
was Michaels
They
and Taker.
almost buried it. They didn't bury it.
Michaels and
Almost did.
Taker were the stars, so that worked, and that debut went so well that they can look over something like what you just said.
Of course.
The whole situation.
Hell, Mankind
how they did it
Undertaker
was
just
there.
beat it by a mile.
I will say my favorite
Oh,
Hell in a Cell
definitely.
match of all time.
What's that?
My favorite Hell in a Cell match of all time is Triple H and Shawn Michaels from Bad Blood 04.
Mine is
That was the one that went like 50 minutes.
Yeah, that was the 48-minute one.
the
yeah,
longest Hell in a
with, like,
Cell in history.
Yeah, he pedigrees him like 3 times in a row, and then he finally gets down.
Honestly, let's go on a little mini rant here.
Oh, we've been going on a run. We like talk about the match for like 2 minutes, and we
What-
go on
what-
the
what is-
sidetrack.
what match, right?
What is your guys' top 5 Hell in a Cell matches?
Oh crap!
You're going way off. I gave you my first one.
So, okay, I'll start it off here. I'm not going to do it in any particular order, but I'm going to say Batista, Triple H,
That's a good one.
Undertaker, Randy Orton,
That's on mine.
Undertaker,
Oh.
Edge,
I'm not gonna have 5. Fuck me.
Undertaker, Foley,
You list like Undertaker.
and then the last one I'd probably say Undertaker, Brock, No Mercy, 02.
Okay, so you actually on me on that one. I got Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I already said that one.
I'm not gonna have 5, so just.
Undertaker and Randy Orton just because I love the Legend Killer gimmick and all that and how that worked out.
Certainly
I
not
also was going to say Brock Lesnar and Undertaker from 02.
best. Yep.
I will actually, for the storytelling in the match, go with Triple H and The Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as a referee from Mania.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
That one is great in
Not
both
because
aspects.
it's necessarily a great Hell in a Cell match. It is, but using the story they told in that match and the match itself,
End of an era and all that shit.
it works.
The only thing that knocks that one off a little bit is the whole end of an era thing because nothing ended.
Yeah, 'cause
Well, that was the buy-in for the whole show.
they all came back and did other shit.
I don't remember 5 Hell in a Cell matches off the top of my head, so.
Well, like, you got a lot of options. There was a tag team one on Raw.
Nobody's gonna say
I just
that.
can't remember them all. I just.
There was the 6-man at Armageddon.
The Armageddon 6-man was good.
You guys are way more better members than me.
Well, it helps that
I
I
actually
own
don't-
the Hell in a Cell DVD.
I actually,
Well, damn it.
I don't even remember that. I own the ladder match one.
There was the one with Triple H and Foley, right after the Royal Rumble street fight.
Ooh, yeah, there you go.
I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna
Where
throw-
Foley got, where he took like a backdrop and he fell through the mat.
I'm gonna throw a weird one, guys. If I'm thinking of the match itself, it might actually work. But didn't Triple H and Jericho have one?
And Judgment Day 2002.
And that's the one with the referee and all that shit.
Yeah, but the funniest thing is the main event of that show was Undertaker and Hogan.
Oh. Was that 2003?
I was trying to figure out like Jericho.
2002.
I was sitting like
that was
Jericho.
for, yeah, is that when
WWE
Taker beat
title.
Hogan for the unified title?
Yep.
Jesus.
And then he had that great ladder match with Jeff Hardy on Raw.
That was
That was a good match.
That's actually still one of my top 5.
Was that
ladder
when he went to
matches.
Hardy goes after the match? He's like,
Yep, where they
Yeah.
shake each other's hands. And
'Cause,
that
like,
was back when he was American Badass.
Well, that's
Yeah.
one of those times where people actually, like, it was so believable, the story and the way they worked it, that everyone was actually behind Hardy to win the title.
Yep.
And he hits
I was
him
like, holy shit, really?
What other Hell in a Cell matches were there? There were the McMahons and Big Show versus
Just
DX, which was just hilarious.
Which is just-
Is that when
Vince-
McMahon got his ass
Shoved
face
it,
up his
yeah.
ass?
Up Big Show's ass.
A Big Show's ass, yeah.
God.
That
There
sounds-
was
Didn't they do a similar spot where Shane and Vince's ass, which is more fucked up?
that
if
was
you
at
ask me?
that was at WrestleMania.
I'm just saying, but that's so much worse to me.
Oh,
All right, how about the
definitely.
women's Hell in a Cell match we had about a year ago?
If they didn't botch the table spot of that match,
There
it
was
would
like
bad.
there was Undertaker and Batista in a Hell in a Cell at one point. There was John Cena and Randy Orton twice.
Neither one were that good.
There was Brock and Taker twice.
The Brock Taker one was actually really good.
Both of them were really good. I just
Well,
like 2002 better. 'cause
Was
they're-
that so the one in 02 was when Brock had the belt and Undertaker went back to after the Brock beat Rock, Taker fights Brock in the Hell in a Cell,
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's
because
the one.
SummerSlam 02.
and Taker sold Brock's, like
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Well, and that's the one where Taker had the quote-unquote broken arm, so he had a cast on in the beginning of that match.
And that's also the one where Heyman gets busted open from the outside of the cage.
because Taker grabs his tie and starts fucking pulling him into the Hell in a Cell.
Nice.
All right, so we had that transition unless you actually have a list to put on.
I don't have a.
All right,
sorry, I
so
don't
here's
have
the
a list.
match we skipped, and this is going to be like whatever.
Oh, that's right, the tag team title
The-
match.
the Raw
Viking
tag team title
Raiders
match.
And the OC.
And the only reason I forgot about it was because it's a pay-per-view match that ends in a double count out.
Yeah,
Yeah, fuck
that's
off.
that's another thing. When we're paying $100 a ticket, or if you're paying even $10
Well, just
for
paying
the
to go
network,
to the show.
or even if you're paying $10 on the network,
And it's a
We
They
don't
make
wanna see
so
a
much money
fuck
off those
finish.
$10 friggin' subscriptions. They better put on something good.
we don't want to see a fuck finish on a pay-per-view.
I have a theory about this fucking network shit,
You can show me a fuck finish on Raw, I don't care.
which is my
But
point.
on a pay-per-view, no, people buy this shit.
Because you can
No,
watch everything on the
well,
network.
people buy right. So my point is, well, I'm sorry. My point is, my idea is that WWE is going away from being a pay-per-view heavy storytelling thing. I'm sorry. I'm rambling a little bit.
You're good.
They're not telling their stories via their pay-per-views. They're telling them via the TV show. Hence, why would
Which is
now,
trash.
which is trash too.
Yeah.
So they're just doing that to appease anybody who has a network, and of course to make money off people going to the stadium or the arena or whatever. And if their TV was good, I can get over it.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's weird because
It's horrible.
Using what you're saying about like storytelling, all that using the shows, they had 3 weeks between Survivor Series and TLC to do this.
And they didn't even fucking really announce any
And
matches.
pretty much
until this
everything
week.
Till
was
last Raw
set
or
up on
whatever.
Monday and Friday.
Yeah, which is bullshit.
So there's no heat.
And then we talked about this at the show. I was talking about or on the way to the show, I was talking about how AEW is doing their structure. Like, they have their TV show, and people are like, oh, no story. It's like they got 2 hours,
Yep.
but they also have 4 months. Like they have 3-4 months to do it.
But
Exactly.
everything can breathe, But I mean, like, well, what was there like a stretch like back in like they had like I'm gonna mess up the actual pay-per-views or whatever. They had like what did it say SummerSlam, Saudi Arabia, some other fucking pay-per-view, and then something else right within like about a month and a half.
We can go back a couple
There
years.
was
to the same point you're making, a couple years back, because they had the split brand pay-per-views, like every 2 weeks.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be like, this is Raw's show, and then like 2 weeks later, it's like, here's a SmackDown show.
And that was during the second brand split.
But I can understand that. I can understand that because every show has their own identity. But now there's just no brand split, and they, have the wild card rule for a while, which is horrible.
That was the worst idea they ever had.
But they would have like different shows like every 2 weeks, and they'd build to that show, and then oh crap, we got to build a Survivor Series, which is like oh crap, 5 minutes.
And it's like, oh shit. Well, they lucked out with Survivor Series because of the Saudi Arabia issue.
Yep.
Because when that happened, they started booking all that NXT stuff, and that went over really well.
And you know what? It's fucking over, and I'm annoyed with that shit.
Now see, this is
I hated that.
This is what
I knew it was gonna. I'm sorry to cut you off. It was great. It was great to see some crossover, but I knew it was gonna be over. The second Survivor Series was over.
And I'm still
definitely.
I don't care if anybody wants to say they didn't do it for this reason or anything like that. It was definitely to help NXT with the ratings against AEW.
Oh, certainly. And
they
was also
won.
to help
They won
Raw
2
and
weeks.
SmackDown.
They're still right up there with them. They're still like top
They always
20.
were.
It's also to help Raw and SmackDown because their ratings are declining too. So having NXT on there makes people tune in.
The 2 times that AEW lost
was when Raw and SmackDown
was when like
were involved
Rollins
with
showed up,
NXT.
Lynch showed up, like they knew that
Balor
people
showed up.
Well, Balor's technically a part of the brand now.
We'll see what happens this Wednesday when they have Balor in the championship match. If you really want to talk about Balor and his, and they got Rhea Ripley versus Baszler. I want to see that too. Like I almost want to watch.
They're gonna put it on a pay-per-view tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry, Wednesday. Excuse me.
That's what they're trying to do, but that's what they've been trying to do. Because AEW is always trying to put as best they can out there. They've had a couple of rough shows, I'll say that.
Exactly.
But the thing is that you're gonna have those. You can't like just book a perfect show.
Not
every
every
time.
Not every time. Sometimes you're gonna knock it out of the park. Other times you're gonna fail.
Well, I'm saying I love everything AEW's done, but they haven't put on a perfect show.
Yeah.
One is because they have a pretty lackluster women's division because they won't put the right people together.
Yeah.
Statlander's facing Baker. That could be okay, but I don't really like Britt Baker.
I think when Rhea won the belt, I was like, no.
That's why I like.
She's too friggin'. She's smaller than me.
I
You think I could beat Nyla Rose? No way.
I was actually okay with the way they did it.
Yeah, because
But
they did the big person versus little person match actually kind of.
I don't think she should keep the title. So when it comes January 1st, when she defends the title on the New Year's show,
And then she should lose it. Yeah.
to
that'd be nice.
Statlander, not Baker. If Baker gets another shot at the title, I'd give up on the women's division for right now.
I don't know. I think Nyla Rose winning the belt with especially like now when she's like doing her suspension thing. Why? But by the way, is that suspension a work or is that
It's a work.
or
It's a
is she
work.
injured or something?
It's a work.
Well, it might.
I'm sorry.
She might be injured actually.
I know it's
it is
a work, but is there a reason behind it besides?
There might be injury.
Well, that could be, but it's also they really do want to establish her as this monster heel for the women's division.
Which
That's not
makes
Awesome
sense.
Kong.
Which makes sense.
But wait till Awesome Kong comes up.
I'm actually okay. That's the other one I was trying to figure out earlier. Shayna, I like Shayna too.
Shayna Baszler.
The one, no, Shauna.
Oh, Shauna.
The chick that got powerbombed on top of Rick Knox in
Yeah.
that situation where Nyla Rose got. I like her.
Some
Some of the newer chicks they've signed that they haven't shown much of, I actually really like.
It's going to take a long time for that. Like, I mean, it took a long time for NXT to get their women's division after the Horsewomen left.
After Bailey and all them.
But like,
Well, to be honest though, it didn't take that long because the people that they were working with beforehand were starting to get good.
But they also
had Alexa Bliss, they had Nia Jax.
They also
had
bought out
Carmella.
everybody.
and Bailey, I was right. And Bailey even hung around for a while. That's
Bailey
right.
hung around a little longer
That's
than
right.
she should have.
That's right.
Even.
They also bought everybody out though. They went out and found everybody they could that they really wanted at the
What do you
time.
expect them to do?
Well, and that's what sucks about WWE is right now their roster is just way too inflated. So, like the releases last week of the Ascension, Sin Cara, and Luke Harper.
The Sin Cara already showed up in AAA.
I mean,
Of course he did.
The thing that sucks,
As Sin Cara though.
The thing that sucks is those guys. Those guys all
Yeah,
being
he's not
released.
supposed to.
They don't get any attention because the fact that their rosters are just way too big. There's too many people, not enough spots.
Also,
Even on a 3-hour show, it's ridiculous.
people keep talking, and this is kind of a transition talking about roster sizes and shit. Like people keep talking about like, is AEW going to do a partnership with New Japan or anything like that? They don't have a partnership with AAA.
No.
There is no partnership with AAA, but Kenny Omega is their world champion.
He is. Yeah.
And that's because they have a contract where as long as they don't work TV, they can technically go wherever they want.
I mean, Cody came out and said, you don't have to work every day. You don't got to work all the time.
With people using, like, say, Sammy Guevara or, like, Nyla Rose, like the Britt Baker, the people that are, like, green, not used to TV or haven't have much ring time, they can go and do these shows. Like, they want them to get their time in so they can be better for when they're on their program.
Exactly. Like, if Jimmy Havoc or Darby Allin or Joey Janela, if they wanted to go work a PWG show, they can do that.
Well, Havoc can't because he's an MLW contracted wrestler.
Well, okay.
What does that mean?
Okay, Havoc
It's Major
can't.
League Wrestling.
Oh,
It's another company.
Havoc can't, but at the same time, they can go to other promotions as long as they're not on a live television broadcast.
oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah. MJF came from MLW.
He's still contracted to that too.
He is, but he's actually the biggest reason why AEW can no longer sign currently contracted MLW stars.
Yeah, because wasn't he their champion?
No, but he got majorly over and like,
He's
holy
probably
shit.
their biggest star.
They realized what they lost. They have Hammerstone too.
Yeah.
The Dynasty.
Yeah.
MJF's in a stable in MLW called the Dynasty with a guy named Alexander Hammerstone. And I forgot the other guy's name, but he's like the mouthpiece. Hammerstone's the guy.
Hammerstone is literally like the bodyguard, the Tyson Tomko of the group.
Or
Tyson Tomko.
Wardlow.
Or
Wardlow.
Correct.
I actually can't wait to see when he wrestles.
So the roster sizes, and I guess I will get back on track hopefully, but it just goes back to the idea that the overexposure is definitely a problem. It's not going to go away, unfortunately. 3-hour show. You have all these motherfuckers from top to bottom. Put them in something. I get to trying with like the 24/7 title.
Oh God, they're not trying with the 24/7.
You know, the
No.
Rusev Lana stuff. I mean, and Lashley. Don't get me wrong. I like the ideas, just the execution of it all. But there's guys who are like Luke Harper. Why is he not being an ass kicker? He was on SmackDown for a second. Why is Rowan carrying a fucking cage that we can't see what's inside it?
I forgot about that. That's
That's bad.
To get these guys to kick people's ass. What's wrong with that?
Like, what we need is, I know he's absolutely terrible.
Who's
but
he?
Like,
He's working on it.
like Vince Russo.
Oh.
Vince Russo.
God.
Vince Russo, at least with storylines, could make you care about everyone on the roster. You cared about the Godfather. You cared about Val Venus. You cared about Scotty 2 Hotty.
I'll use this. So,
Today, you wouldn't care about those people.
I'm going to say one more thing about the roster sizes, and then I'm going to go back to what we're actually supposed to be talking about.
What, wrestling? God damn it.
But, so people talk AEW's roster is like, oh, get bigger guys, get these people. Or they already have too many people because they only have a 2-hour show. They have a 3-hour show. AEW Dark is a thing,
Yeah.
and it is part of their show.
That's true.
It's on their YouTube channel, but still.
It's actually easier to watch than cable.
But it still counts towards their rankings.
Yeah.
So it's still
That's
part
why
of the show.
Statlander,
Yeah, no, it definitely
Statlander has a
counts.
win on the women's ratings of a match that nobody's seen yet because it's from Dark that hasn't aired yet.
Really?
Because it happened on Wednesday, so she gets credit for the win.
That's incredible.
But the match isn't going to air on TV until Tuesday, or on
And
YouTube.
and
till Tuesday.
and just one quick thing, like it reminds me back when when WCW would do their tapings, back in like the fucking like late '80s, and they would have a broadcast of a guy wearing a belt that isn't won yet on TV. And
Yeah.
that was always hilarious when I would hear about that stuff.
But it's like, using it like it's AEW's got a good sized roster. I like it.
True.
They're going to add more people. It's fine. I don't understand how you can have a 3-hour show, a 2-hour show, with
and
all those
and another
people.
2-hour show too. for
I'm
NXT.
getting there on the NXT thing. With all that, and you can horribly botch the 2-hour show for SmackDown and all the people you have. It's better on SmackDown, but not as. Raw is just garbage. Straight up, flat garbage.
Yeah.
SmackDown's at least better. NXT's got a decent sized roster. And they can actually make the 2 hours work for NXT.
And
Oh, yeah.
and you can probably watch every show for NXT and go back and go who was on what show and when they were on it, and you won't see the same guy on the same show, or I'm sorry, the same guy every week all the time.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way,
No overexposure.
I've
True.
seen the opening of the last 3 Friday Night SmackDowns.
Same stuff.
It's Baron Corbin coming out to the ring and talking about Roman
Oh
Reigns
my-
for 15 minutes.
And
Like,
that's another thing I
you
like
have
about
2 hours and
NXT.
you're wasting 20-minute promo.
Hence the bullshit we saw today.
Well, that's another thing I like about NXT is the fact that they don't normally start things off with a promo. They normally start things off with, an introduction and then, hey, here's a match.
That's a weird thing because AEW for the first time in their 11th week, and they technically opened with a match.
Yep, but it was also a promo.
It was Jon Moxley squashing John Silver, the DDT, and they pinned him, and then Jericho came out.
They did that before. I think the Young Bucks opened up with Lucha Brothers or Private Party or one of those times. They opened up with them during the tag team tournament.
Yeah, but they don't do very many like that kind of shit.
Right.
Yeah,
and then when they
normally
do, it
open with a
works.
match.
Like, obviously Moxley's not going to join the Inner Circle or whatever.
We know this.
But it's to work the situation. Jericho's afraid of the guy, so he wants him to be on his side, so he doesn't.
It's a good story.
Exactly.
Okay, so Roman Reigns sucks, Baron Corbin sucks, or their feud sucks.
But like I said, now we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Shit, what was next? Bray Wyatt and Miz was next?
Bray Wyatt and Miz, the story on that was good.
Execution.
The match was okay.
Why did the Miz go over? Why did the Miz go over? Why?
Because I think WWE's logic behind it was
to keep getting Wyatt over?
To keep Bray where he is. They don't want, even if he's not the Fiend, which I thought the whole reason of not having the title on and all that was so that he would lose.
Exactly.
But just to keep him where he's at, and then the bigger pop for when Daniel Bryan kicks his ass after the match. If Miz beats him and then Daniel Bryan comes in and kicks his ass.
So the match just led to an angle, which is horseshit.
Which the angle was already there. That's
right.
See, and that's why it should have went like this. My thought process was Miz beats Bray. Bray rolls under the ring, gets the Fiend shit all going, starts beating Miz's ass, and then Bryan makes the save, which would have set up a triple threat match at the Rumble for the title.
And you got a great match right there.
But Daniel Bryan's new old look.
I like it.
Bryan Danielson, baby.
He is
the Bryan
back
Danielson,
to
American
Dragon, Ring of Honor days.
Do you think he's going to bring back that nickname?
No.
No? Is it trademarked or anything, or can he?
I don't think it is.
It's not trademarked, but the thing is Matt Stryker on commentary, his first on SummerSlam 2010, he referred to him as American Dragon and got bitched at backstage.
That's not good shit.
And that's where they brought him back, because they had fired him before that.
Well, they technically had to fire him since he did the whole choking Justin Roberts with a tie, and it was too violent for PG.
Get the fuck out of here. Chairs to the head. Get the fuck out of here.
And then there was a whole backlash behind him getting fired, so they brought him back as a surprise for that SummerSlam match with the Nexus.
Daniel Bryan had mentioned that they had told him, hey, we have to let you go, but we are bringing you back, so you just make sure you're keeping in touch with us.
Could you imagine it wasn't even that long they was gone either.
No, he was gone for like maybe 2 months.
But the funniest thing about it that I saw, and then we're going off topic again because it just wasn't that interesting to talk about.
Well, plus we've been off the air for a while.
But Daniel Bryan, could you imagine what would have happened if they just didn't bring him back?
Well, no,
I can't.
No, this is what I gotta say. Just imagine, so Daniel Bryan's technically not in WWE at this point in time. What if Ring of Honor or TNA would have slipped in and gave him a bigger offer and he signed with them?
Is that, I don't know, I think everything that he has done has worked out because WWE knew what to do and it worked for him. But when he was already over before they cleared him, if they would have just let his contract go,
what would he have done? Would he have gone to Japan?
He would have went somewhere because obviously he was going to wrestle and he's wrestling now.
He would have went to Ring of Honor.
If they would have never
Japan.
cleared him and let his contract expire,
he would have gone somewhere, got over
again.
WWE would have been like, come on back.
To be 100% fair, he wouldn't have needed to even get over. As soon as
continue to be over, yeah.
As soon as a company would have announced that he's on a card, boom, sold out.
Can you imagine, say, like AEW started 6 months earlier?
Well, let's just say his contract was expired from WWE. They let him go. They didn't clear him. And then at that point in time,
back in 2010,
he gets on a ring. No. This is when he got
2018,
injured.
2019.
Oh, gotcha.
So let's say he gets on a Ring of Honor card. As soon as they announce he's on an ROH card, those tickets would have all been sold out because that would have been Daniel Bryan's first match wrestling in 2 years.
Yeah.
That would have sold out any arena. You could have put that
at least
Madison
the
Square Garden. I feel like you could have sold out a bigger arena than they normally run. MSG, they could have sold that out with that. Because people wanted to see Daniel.
Yeah, I'm not much of an indie guy, but so I can't really relate to ROH. I've never watched much Ring of Honor, but we would have missed out on a good heel run.
Yeah, probably.
because he had a good heel run.
Well,
Yeah.
he may
With
have
his,
had a heel run in Japan, kind of like Mox.
The hemp championship.
The hemp championship, and just the way he just talked down to people. He just knows how to. He knows how it works.
Using Mox and Jericho are going to be a Wrestle Kingdom.
Yep. Which is
Oh,
going to be a
shit.
nice
Mox is having a Texas death match,
treat
which
course
is
he is.
IWGP
With Terry Funk, right?
No.
US title.
no, the
Dang
winner of that match gets to face
Juice.
for the championship on day 2.
Which
Oh,
championship?
okay.
The IWGP US title.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's Japan. It's the title that Mox had when he first left WWE,
Yeah.
went to Japan, and he won it, and then he got stripped of it because he couldn't make it because of the weather.
To be 100%
It's an
fair,
official rule in New Japan. No matter who you are, how old you are, if you cannot make the show and you're the champion, you get stripped of the title.
matter
As
what.
long as you're
Yeah.
if you're scheduled for a title
So
defense,
zombie apocalypse.
you're
Wow.
screwed.
Why are you still
They're
putting the show
hardcore.
on?
They're hardcore.
But no, the Texas Death Match, and I think it's great because it's the official version of what the Last Man Standing match was before WWE turned it into a Last Man Standing match. It's a Last Man Standing match, but you got to pin them first,
Yeah,
Ooh.
but
Ooh. And then make him count to 10.
and then they
Okay.
count to 10.
remember this though, Albert. They also use that same rule in WCW.
What?
Yeah,
I have a match where Vader goes against Mick Foley, and that's the exact rules. They also did that with Christopher Daniels and Cody Rhodes in Ring of Honor for the ROH World Title.
So it's a pin and then count to 10.
Yeah, you got to pin them, and then you have a last man standing 10 count, and then you win.
I guess I've never seen a match like that before.
If they get up, you got to pin them again and do it again.
Yep.
That's
if
so
they get up,
weird.
you got to pin them and do it again.
But that's
So-
where the Last Man Standing match concept came from.
So it's like a 13-second count.
Pretty much.
Basically.
And then there's also the one example in TNA where they had that last team standing match, which had the same rules.
Fuck that.
That was actually kind of interesting. So that was Triple X and
I'm not sure if we're down with.
America's Most Wanted.
Now just knock them out. Forget the pin part. But that's just me.
Well, it adds up more drama to the match.
So, and now we go off on a tangent again, back to the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was what I thought for sure was going to be the worst match of the night, but I overheard some of the stuff that you said while it was going on, and then they kind of fucked up the end. But the Rusev Lana
Table match.
Lashley table match, which on paper sounds like it should have been the worst match of the night. I went and took a piss break, all that.
It was passable.
It was still, I still don't.
Wrong guy went over.
There's that.
It was passable, but I wouldn't sit there and go, you need to watch this match.
It still made me laugh when he tried to spear him through the table, but it just didn't break,
Is
so
it-
he fucking threw him through the other table.
I don't get why there's a whole thing where Rusev is the good guy, Lashley is the heel, Lana's obviously being a manipulative cunt, and
You're a sex addict, so I'm going to go fuck this guy instead.
yeah, and
Yeah.
she's making notes that she lied about being pregnant and all that shit, and then the bad guy goes over. There's
it
like,
just means it's gonna continue the feud.
You know
Unfortunately,
the stupidest
and then
thing about
and then Rusev wins, and then so what?
the stupidest thing about this entire storyline, because they completely wrote it off and then immediately just restarted it, is this was supposed to be Mike Kanellis and Maria's storyline.
Exactly.
That's right. That had potential. I enjoyed that.
I
But
didn't.
they just stopped it.
I didn't enjoy watching
They
her
s-
talk down to him every week.
They stopped it because
What-
Mike literally just refused to do it. Like, he's
Is
like,
that what it was?
he's like, I'm not doing
no,
this.
what it was is Mike asked for his release
Because he
and
didn't
that
want to fucking
pissed-
do it.
No, he said it's not even because of that. He said that when they originally signed those 5-year contracts, he was told that he was going to get a decent push, a mid-card title push.
The mid-card
And
push.
they never gave him anything, and they never even attempted it. So he's like, fuck this, I want to leave.
And now they can't even put him on TV because that's still, people still remember that, and they're doing the Lana thing.
I mean,
I
they
was
can
looking-
technically put him on TV, but at the same point, he just doesn't want to be there.
I was looking to see if there was a way where she could get her comeuppance, even though she pulled it off perfectly by saying, "I'm pregnant, you can't fucking touch me," and I'm a 24/7 title.
That was
Cool.
the only thing I liked
Cool.
about it.
Good.
That was funny.
Good heel work. I loved it, but they just stopped it. I want to see where they're going to go with it. I was really interested.
I did like the fact that he literally she told him that he had a vagina.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
My real question is, after they had to back off of that, like, how did they spin this with Rusev, Lana, and Bobby Lashley to be like, So you guys want to do this? Because
Yeah,
it's horrible.
As a booker, like, what do you do? So we got this thing, and you're gonna say he's a sex addict, but you are gonna go and say, well, I want to bang Lashley, and then,
You're basically gonna bang him on camera before the camera cuts.
And
off.
you're gonna have a sex party, and Rusev's gonna get a restraining order, but we defy that over and over again.
And you're gonna get arrested.
And you're gonna get arrested, but then you're gonna get arrested for him being arrested because you just got mad at the cops.
I don't understand.
How do you feel about that?
The thing that I don't get is,
How do you feel about that?
why are they doing a storyline like this when the last time they did a storyline where those two split was with the Dolph Ziggler, and that
Horrible.
didn't go well.
And Summer Rae.
Can we also explain that?
Ruru. That's all you gotta say about that.
Can we also explain that they technically are still PG?
Yeah,
and
and then they're
there's
talking
nothing
about-
PG about
They're
that.
talking about
storyline.
sex addiction. They're talking about fucking being pregnant. They're talking about people having, or guys having vaginas on
Basically,
air.
basically, Lana just wants a BBC.
Yeah, she
Oh,
wants a
yeah,
big
yeah.
black dick.
Who doesn't, right? But
I do not.
Well,
I will tell you that.
Okay, it was a rhetorical question, but I think it was also an idea that WWE had to bring back an element of the Attitude Era, and that
I applaud them on that part of it, but the story sucks.
However, I read this article, and some people are saying, or Vince McMahon might like it, and I'm just paraphrasing here, that Vince McMahon likes it because it's getting heavy viewage on YouTube.
Oh, definitely.
A lot of people are watching it, so it's like, oh, that's good shit.
It's good shit.
But the thing is those people that are watching your 3-minute clip on YouTube are not tuning into your fucking show. So it doesn't
Why watch something
count.
they already watched?
Well, he might not think about that, but
It
but
doesn't
he should
count
be.
towards
He
your
should
rating.
be.
It doesn't count towards your ratings.
And
Like-
when you see your ratings dipping because your content is just bad, despite what YouTube says or the viewership, big fucking deal.
Exactly. Fuck how many YouTube views you get, because that's not bringing you the big money. The big money is your contracts with USA and Fox.
And
The funniest thing about those is those are terminatable by the network, not the company.
no
Exactly.
shit.
Like Fox can literally say tomorrow, WWE, we're done.
It's the same thing with TNT, but TNT, the baseline or the rumors, there's no official story about that, but TNT was only expecting 500,000 viewers, and they've been surpassing that
Oh yeah, TNT
easily.
TNT had
800,000 plus. or
TNT
whatever it is.
expected what a
They're
normal
averaging like
episode-
815 or something.
Yeah.
TNT expected what a normal episode of Impact was at one point in time.
Oh jeez.
Impact would get about 500,000.
And we're talking strictly what the U.S. is watching of it.
Exactly.
Canada's watching it on
They'd
TSN.
get about 500,000 people for a normal episode of Impact, and they thought that's all they expected.
This is what Vince McMahon should be thinking about. So, what was a higher rated segment? Not by numbers, but by the fact you watched it and it was cool. Any 8-minute segment revolving around Rusev, Lashley, and Lana, or somebody kicking over a bathroom door and saying Orange Cassidy is doing this.
I mean, I'd rather watch Orange Cassidy, don't get me wrong.
Just standing there, just doing his thing.
Oh, man.
Or kicking Billy Gunn on the shins.
That's why I love listening to Jim Cornette. Not because I agree with anything he says, I just think it's fucking hilarious.
Oh,
He goes off on funny ass tangents.
They both, Brian Last and Jim Cornette.
Yep.
Who's the first person?
Brian Last is the host of his podcast.
Yeah,
and
we
Jim
don't
Cornette's the main
necessarily
guy.
know what his
But
story is.
they've
He's
known
just
each
the
other
host.
since like the territories or some shit like that. But between telling old school wrestling, so I don't really care. But they hate most everything about AEW except for all this shit. And it's like, there's no way that TNT can be happy with what they're showing right now on TV. They've got to be pissed. Like, they're going to cut this contract in like 2 months, blah, blah, blah.
It's got to be a gimmick. Jim Cornette knows better than anybody else that if you're making money, something's going right.
Exactly.
He just really doesn't like Kenny Olivier.
He hates...
Funny.
And Pockets.
Pockets?
Pockets is one cast.
Not Pac.
To be honest, the only
He loves Pac.
The only things that he really likes in AEW is fucking Paige.
He likes Pac too.
Kind of. It
That's
really
because
depends.
Paige is like a cowboy, which is like a shoot back to the cowboy Bob Orton or the cowboy Bill Watts
He
kind of
loves
shit.
Cody.
Oh.
He loves
That's what's
Jericho.
And MJF.
And then he loves MJF, but MJF, who the fuck could hate that guy?
Oh,
Never.
I sent him the meme, but there's a meme because a couple years back at NXT Takeover, Joe's walking to the ring with the NXT title, and MJF is one of the security guards.
Yep.
And he pushes him to the side, and somebody like tagged him in it, and he's like, all I can say is it's a deep fake, a really good deep fake. I'd never let an overweight Samoan push me around like that.
Which was hilarious. That was like the
that's
best
awesome.
thing he could have said.
I gotta find out.
I can show it to you when we're done with this.
Yeah, let's just say Legend over here sends me a good amount of MJF memes, and they always just crack me up.
This is shit he says on Twitter is fucking great.
He is the best. He's the best Twitter troll.
Even in person, he'll just freaking troll you and just like.
The thing is he'll literally troll people that are trying to be nice to him, be like, "Oh, I like your work," and he's like, "You're absolutely ugly."
Well,
I like your work. What the fuck do you know?
You get a photo with him, and you put his hand on his shoulder, and he just goes, "Fuck you," and that's the photo. It's just him like looking at him like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, and he'll flip you off.
Don't touch my scarf.
But
Yeah,
okay.
don't touch his scarf.
Before we talk the main event, I do want to bring one more thing up because we're talking about how Jim Cornette thinks that TNT is not happy with the ratings and they're going to cancel him. Okay, well, if TNT is not happy with the ratings, how does USA feel about NXT? Because their ratings aren't any better.
See, I bet USA
But they're still
is
doing
actually,
pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I bet USA is not actually
Not in compared to the Raw numbers.
Like, they're probably not upset about NXT because they probably didn't have very many expectations. But I would think that they'd be upset about Raw.
Well, Raw's dropping below 2 million almost now.
I'm surprised SmackDown isn't hadn't given any word about them wanting to go. What the fuck
it's
you
weird.
guys doing?
SmackDown's beating Raw, but SmackDown, it's obvious they can beat Raw because there's more. Almost every household in the country has Fox.
Exactly, because Fox is a non-cable channel.
It's on a national network that you don't have to pay to get.
You just need an antenna. You can watch
That's
SmackDown.
True. That's true. Like,
and SmackDown is getting more ratings, and I think that's the reason why, because they're not beating them by that much.
The only time that
SmackDown's the syndicate.
the only time that SmackDown had the really low ratings is that 1 week they were on FS1.
Yes, actually, AEW beat them that week.
Exactly.
Jesus.
They put them on a cable network, and they got beat by.
Well, because they were on FS1.
And not a lot of people have FS1.
Exactly. And that was the only week that SmackDown went really low in ratings. Raw's ratings are fucked up because they have that third hour that they don't need.
All right, we're rolling on time here, so let's get to the main event.
Well, before you go, how much time do you have on this?
Oh, I can go as long, but I like to go about an hour.
Oh, okay.
But what are you going to say?
No, that was my question.
Yeah, we're almost
We
done.
could always do a part 2 as well.
Well, we're going to end at the end of
We could always do a part 2.
And the main event.
Oh, and
TLC
everybody's
match.
favorite people,
Jesus
the
Christ.
Kabuki Warriors.
Versus
Other
Charlotte
than
and
Becky
Becky.
Lynch.
We had some stereo surround system going on.
Let's go, Charlotte. Woo! And then the right side goes, and then the left side goes, and the right side goes.
Dude.
The biggest thing that I'm gonna say is I need to watch this match at home just to see what the TV audience saw.
That's not a bad point, because like
In person, it sucked.
There was a lot. There was a lot of botches, a lot of noticeable botches.
I was rubbing my temples most of the time, going like, "What the is going on?"
Well,
and I was watching the freaking Titantron, or whatever the fuck you call
between the matches in the ring, or not in the ring, because the match wasn't in the ring.
Most of the time, yeah.
But between the action going on in the match and the guy on the right and the guy on the left,
Screaming their lungs out.
it was really hard to even get invested in anything going on in the match. And anytime I did look at the match, I saw something that didn't go right, like the spear attempt and
And
the
then-
longest pussy licking power bomb right after it.
Well, and then you had the time where Kyrie fucking tried to jump on, I think, Charlotte on the table, and she's not heavy enough to break it.
I think the best spot was very early on in the match, and I realized it was going to be bad when Kyrie's throwing chairs in the ring, and
she hits herself.
one bounces off the ropes and goes back down and hits herself in the face.
Yeah.
And then she throws one more like a second later, and it almost hits Asuka on the head,
Well,
who's
she's
laying in
around-
the corner on the ground.
She threw like 4 chairs. One hit her, and the 4th one bounced off the ropes and went after Asuka.
Yeah.
The idea about like Becky being the damsel in distress was a bad move.
Yeah, let me tie you to the ladder. My
Yeah.
problem with that was
Bad move.
My problem with that because where we were sitting, we get to see her not doing anything for like 10 minutes.
Well, yeah,
we
but that's
literally-
just because of where we
saw
were.
her laying down there talking
Well, like
to
I
the
said, you
production guy.
said, watching on TV, you don't see it. But like, if you're sitting there where we were, it's like she's not even trying to get out. And
No.
then when she did try to get out, it was like 20 seconds since she was
If
out.
anything, it should have been her breaking herself out. If you're gonna, if we're being critical, instead of Charlotte helping her out, because like she's the man, right? And she is. I think she's freaking phenomenal. But like, you just take away anything you say about her being a badass if she has to be saved, like a damsel, like a fucking woman being tied to the goddamn train tracks.
It's like, oh, they didn't save her like that though. She got herself now, because people are like, oh, like the fucking annoying guys like, Charlotte loosened it for you.
Yeah.
Technically, she did.
But that goes back to what you're saying about watching on TV. See what they're now. I would love to know what announcers were saying.
And I know for a fact
Becky's tied to the ground. She can't get loose. But you see her legs is doing this.
I don't even care what the announcers are saying. I just want
They
to
just
see
want
what
show
they
the product,
saw
that's all.
on TV.
Because I saw a lot of.
It's part of the product.
I just want to see how they cut out the botches, or if they did even.
They won't even cut the botches out.
I wanna
This is all about the camera angle of those botches, because we saw
that spear was horrible.
The fucking.
and then went right into that other
Kyrie diving off the fucking rope, hit the table and it didn't break. That was terrible too.
And Charlotte rolled out of the way. Like it's funny because that spot happened, and then that led right into the spear spot, which led into the pussy licking powerbomb spot, and they all kind of failed.
The throwing the chairs into the ring spot.
And well, that's actually the part
And then no one was in the ring spot, which is the whole thing.
That was the biggest part about the end of the match, or when we got done with the match. It's like, you're the one who said it. Like 95% nothing, 5% spots, and 2.5 of those spots
were horrible. Oh,
Yeah.
so gross.
It was
Almost
rough.
as bad as the random fucking brawling after.
Oh yeah, the brawl at the end.
What was that supposed to do?
That was just going on for the entire show since the end of the Corbin Reigns match.
That's raw bullshit. That's some fucking TV bullshit.
They wanted you to believe that
They were fighting
all
the
these
whole time.
fucking dudes have been fighting since
For like an
literally
hour and a
right
half.
after Roman Reigns' match.
Yeah,
You
they-
went to the bathroom. Did you see anybody fighting?
No.
You would have seen something, right?
Well, because you got to think about it, because when we first saw it, it was after like the Miz or whatever. When we first saw it, it was backstage interview, like back on the other side of
And
the
it's
arena.
like, oh, that's
And
interesting.
then when the TLC match ends, they're coming out the other side of the arena.
The only part that was interesting
Was
was
the-
the fucking the spear.
The spear at the end was.
I gave no shits about that.
Well, neither
I
did half
thought-
the crowd because they're already walking away. Like, I don't even care about this shit.
I thought that part was cool. Other than that, that whole brawl was pointless.
It was like you pointed out, like it was, or you might have pointed. One of you said it was like their desperate attempt to try to give somebody a big moment before the end because that
I think it was Chris.
because that main event was so
The
bad.
main event was bad, so it's like, oh, we got to do something.
Not to mention it was like
it was
20
planned for sure. I mean, it was out right after it happened. There's no way they're like, hurry up, get in the spot and just start.
Not to mention
There's
there's
no
like
way they
20
did that.
fucking people in that brawl.
Right. I don't think they got 20 people together that like just because the main event was like
Well,
being
it's basically
booed.
like-
it was getting booed, right? You all heard that shit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they started
definitely.
to boo it, and that was when fucking Charlotte and Becky were in the ring with chairs.
I also want to watch the live broadcast just to see if the whole spear thing was actually caught on camera, because it looked like if you watched the Titantron that it was not.
I saw it on Titantron.
Yeah, I know, but they showed it, but they also showed the graphic of the pay-per-view's over before that.
Yeah, they did do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you meant the Charlotte Flair spear. Sorry.
No,
You
no,
meant
no,
Roman Reigns.
The
No,
Roman Reigns spear.
When I re-looked at it, because I said they showed the copyright thing, which is usually when they go off.
Yep.
But then after that, like when the brawl was still going on, they showed up next the Stone Cold blah blah blah. So I think they were still on TV, and then it went dark after the spear.
They probably went dark. Yeah, right after the spear.
Last bit where Buddy Murphy was taking some hard shots at people and like Luke Gallows was punching people, it made no sense to me whatsoever because Roman Reigns is just walking away at this point.
Well, and on top of that, too,
And those guys are just beating security.
He's
still.
He's selling nothing.
The thing that you notice is the guys that were carrying Corbin's throne are the ones that the heels and the faces are brawling with.
Everybody's.
What in the fuck are you fighting them for?
I wasn't quite sure who was fighting because my point is if you're talking about who's fighting who, there's like, I watched it happen. Roman's walking away.
Yeah, and then they're still fighting.
Gallows is punching people behind Roman, but I'm like, if you're the heel, like you'd be attacking Roman, not just some random security guard. And Roman's just like, oh, my day's over. Fuck this.
Yeah, I've already got my payday.
That and then
Selling
it was,
nothing
It
at
was
that point.
stupid that we didn't have Chad Gable also.
Shorty G, baby.
No.
Shorty G sucks. Chad Gable, he's a Minneapolis guy. Why didn't we have him anywhere near the show? And same with Otis.
Your heavy machinery. Fuck, you can throw that in there. Oof. Anyways, we're gonna end this because we gotta get this guy home,
We're gonna end this episode correct.
and then I gotta get home. You gotta go.
We gotta get drunk.
No. You don't get drunk.
We need a way to forget this paper.
I am gonna go home and crack a beer.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it was it's still nice seeing it.
Definitely a good time.
I haven't seen it since Ross, so yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm always in the loop somehow.
Want to do fucking SummerSlam
Royal
or
Rumble.
Rumble.
Yeah, gotta do Royal Rumble. Gotta try to do it.
It's the 26th, we found out.
Yep.
But anyways, thanks for watching, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for joining once again.
Yeah.
Thank you.